Our next honoree tonight is Claudia Buck, a longtime journalist with the Sacramento Bee, starting work as a radio news reporter in Santa Barbara after graduation. She then made her way to Sacramento to cover City Hall and the state legislature, later holding writing and editing jobs with the California Journal and the California Political Almanac. She concluded her journalism career at the Bee as a business editor and as a personal finance columnist. Claudia has demonstrated extensive support for Cal Poly's journalism department, including chairing the Alumni Advisory Board and launching a journalism scholarship fund for students. Here's a look at my friend Claudia's background.
My name is Claudia Buck Page, and I graduated in 1976 with a bachelor's in journalism from Cal Poly. I was one of those journalism nerds from high school. I started as a writer when I was a little kid, and by the time I hit high school, I was writing for my newspaper, and I was an editor in the yearbook. So journalism just kind of creeped into my blood at a pretty young age, I feel. Journalism at its core is about storytelling. I loved telling people's stories. I covered so many different facets of news in my career. Everything I learned at Cal Poly transferred into my career. They carried me through to this day. When you think about how it seeps into your everyday life as a journalist, it's really true. Learn by doing is an everyday occurrence, an everyday mantra. When I came to radio, I was ready to do the job because I'd been trained at Cal Poly. Honestly, I walked into a radio newsroom. I had never even worked at KCPR. I knew nothing about radio, but I knew how to be a reporter. I had my trusty little tape recorder. I have so much affection and so much respect for Cal Poly journalism. We're such a small department, but I feel like we're small but mighty because everyone in there is there because they have a passion for what they're doing. But in terms of wisdom I can impart, I just think go for it. If you have a passion for this kind of work, take these skills and carry them out there.
Good evening. I'm not sure I'm in the right place for the mic, but good evening. I'm a writer, not a speech giver, so I have to say it's a little daunting to stand up here and follow Kevin Riggs and be followed by Kevin Falls, both illustrious and talented in their own fields. But on the other hand, I was considering that I went to high school with Kevin Falls and I went to college with Kevin Riggs. So in some ways, it kind of feels like a homecoming up here. I started at Cal Poly as a pretty clueless freshman, but there was one thing I did know, that I had come to the right place for a journalism education. Tonight, before I get into the rest of my remarks, I first want to say thank you to Brady Tufel and the journalism faculty and students who have worked so hard this last year to reinvent and reimagine the Mustang Media Fest that we have all enjoyed the last few days. It's been terrific. And I honestly think I got to hear the very first journalism graduate who was a CIA spy. So there we go. But I also want to give an even bigger thank you to the journalism department for including me among the honorees tonight for the Hall of Fame. It sometimes sounds like a cliche, but the learn by doing promise that Cal Poly brings to every student is so real. And yes, I was one of those students schooled by the inimitable Jim Hayes, the original SEME professor. He scared us, he inspired us, and I know how much he loved helping us become the writers, editors, and communicators we are today. I learned writing at Mustang Daily and for the Poly Royal Board. I learned people skills as a WOW Week counselor. And I learned student leadership skills as chair of the Communicative Arts and Humanities Council, which I don't think even exists anymore, but it was a thing back in the day. The opportunities here at Cal Poly were endless, and they carried through into my career, where learn by doing was a way of work. Whether it didn't matter what the environment was, what the newsroom was, the publication, everywhere I went, learn by doing was part of my being. Whether it was interviewing legislators in the state capitol, sitting with a grieving mother whose son had died of a fentanyl overdose, or writing personal finance stories about everything from romance scams to soaring student debt. Journalism gave me the privilege of breaking news, of telling stories, and helping inform the public. And none of it would have been possible without the skills I learned here at Cal Poly. As we're all too aware, journalism is in a very tough place right now. It's fragmented, it's besieged, and it's financially insecure. I will forever be grateful that I worked in journalism and as a journalist during the industry's heyday. But I also believe that the kind of students that Cal Poly is teaching and fostering and encouraging and producing are going to be more than prepared to go out and tackle this new media landscape. Cal Poly launched me professionally, but also personally. It's where I met my incredible husband, Paul Page, a graphic design major. If you get over to the silent auction, you'll see some of his artwork that he did to pay for his way through college in the silent auction. But I met Paul here at Cal Poly, and he has been my greatest supporter and the love of my life. Our daughter Emily is also a journalism graduate, although I have to confess she did not go to Cal Poly for her journalism. But she is a senior technical writer at Salesforce in San Francisco. So if any of you are interested in a tech writing job, see Emily. Our son Cameron is a Cal Poly construction management major, and he went on to start his own tech firm in the Bay Area. He's the CEO and founder. And I had planned to say that both my kids were here to see mom stand up and get this Hall of Fame honor, but our son and his wife are perhaps hours away from delivering a baby, so he was not able to be here. The legacy of Cal Poly is why my husband and I started the Buck Page Scholarship Fund, as we call it. Not very original, but that's what it is. About 6 years ago, for students in financial need. It was our way of giving back to the graphic design and journalism departments that meant so much to us and contributed so much to where we are today. I'm a storyteller, but one of the most rewarding parts of this scholarship fund has been meeting all of the students that have been the recipients for the last 6 years and having them tell us their story of their Cal Poly journey. In closing, my advice to all you students out there, I have several thoughts. One is to be nimble, to avail yourselves of any mentors you can, everywhere and anywhere, to be able to pivot to any new challenge and any new job, even when you think it's impossible, because learn by doing will definitely carry you through. And lastly, always be very, very proud of your Cal Poly roots. I know I am, and I will always be very, very proud of becoming a Cal Poly Journalism Hall of Famer. Thank you.